Даю добровольное согласие на съемку.
I voluntarily consent to be filmed. My name is Sologub Dmitry Olegovich. I was born on 6 March 1996 in Russia, Primorsky Krai, Vladivostok. I served in the 394th Regiment, the 1st Battalion Grenade Launcher Platoon, attached to the 1st Company. On June 2nd, 2023, the offensive took place, that is, the armed forces of Ukraine attacked us. I can say that on the first day we barely managed to fend off them. The losses were high enough. And on the second day in the morning it continued. When they arrived on the first day, first there was artillery preparation, that is shelling. There were mortars, artillery, then the Max Pro armored vehicles, tanks were coming by. I mean, the Max Pro were trying to land infantry on the first day and they failed. And on the second day they just came after the shelling and actually went into the woods to us.
And the tanks were these Leopards?
Не разбираюсь, честно. Ну, скорее всего, да, точно не.
I am not really good at this, but most likely, these probably were not Russian tanks. You can't stick your head out. The Max Pro comes up and starts to shoot with a machine gun. You only hear the crackling all around. Our position was small, 4 people in total. In fact, they radioed that the position to the right of us, they fled altogether. There were 6 people on our left, but there was no communication with them. We sat and waited. I don't know what for even. In the end, your soldiers started approaching.
Солдаты начали подходить. Старший по
The senior commanders started shooting back. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to surrender, but it was also scary, and I just climbed into the dugout. 2 more men came in after me, and then our platoon commander came in too.
В блиндаже, нас выкуривали оттуда, закидывали гранатами.
We were in the dugout, we were being smoked out of there. They threw grenades in, but we were lucky. When we were building our dugout, we made bunks. That is, we, roughly speaking, had an isle of about 50 centimeters above the ground. Maybe that is the only reason we were not even wounded. We got lucky. I immediately offered my commanders to surrender, and my comrades supported me, but the commanders did not want to give up.
Вроде как сказали ваши ребята, что вы в итоге застрелился.
One grabbed his gun and wanted to shoot himself. Later, your guy said that he ended up shooting himself. He did this. The captain said, if you want, go ahead and surrender, but don't say how many people are in the dugout. Well, we actually shouted that we were surrendering with my comrade. Now I do not know what will happen to him, to Alexei. We surrendered, our hands were in full view. We came out while we were being tied up. Perhaps at that moment the captain ran out, threw a couple of grenades, wounded, perhaps even killed someone from your fellow officers.
После чего его
Then he was killed, and he died at the end too. And that's pretty much it. I surrendered. We spent another 24 hours in the same position among your soldiers. There I was finally convinced that, as I had thought, there were no bloodthirsty monsters, Nazis, murderers and such like. Everyone was just an ordinary person. It was just very scary to give up when you're in a huge crowd of people who support all this and say that they'll use a building foam on you and castrate you and similar to these talks. So in fact, we spent a day there and then we were interrogated. They questioned me, I said everything, showed all the positions I knew about.
все позиции показал, насколько знал.
And how did they met you?
Ваши военнослужащие вполне нормально. Вполне.
Your military? Quite normal, quite friendly. I would even say. There were, of course, some moments, probably because of anger, rage, emotions. I understand it all very well. Once or twice maybe they hit me a little, but I understand this clearly, because after all we did not come with good intentions and not sticks, but with guns.
Ко мне хорошо относятся.
But in general, everything is fine. They treat me well, feed me, and even give me a smoke if I ask for one. There's always water, there are no problems with it. Many of my wounded comrades are in captivity with me and then are given antibiotics and painkillers as needed. That is, we are treated like human beings.
Как с людьми.
How do you think the Ukrainian military is trained?
Я был просто, ну, я не знаю, как это объяснить. все слажено.
I was just amazed. I don't know how to explain. Everything is coordinated at your side. What struck me first of all is that you have a communication between your servicemen in terms of when they're on a combat mission. That there are commanders, there's actually the whole hierarchy of that military structure, and we don't have it similar. When we are at the battlefield, it doesn't matter who is there with us. That might be a captain or someone else, everyone is trying to mind their own business only and doesn't want to take any unnecessary responsibility. And when there's a lot of active combat action, there's no point in relying on any kind of sensible order or anything like that. The tactics itself brings a lot. When there are several rows of Max Pros coming in, shooting the woods with machine guns that you can't even stick your head out, and additionally before that there had been a huge artillery attacks, tanks, artillery, mortars, all of this is about a very smooth cooperation, and I'll say tactically correct one. Once our senior commander came up and said, he was probably drunk, out of his mouth came the phrase that we are just numbers on a piece of paper, that like if he runs out of us, there will be new ones, and that he doesn't care about us.
И все. Типа, мне на вас насрать. Для него это просто возможность выслужиться.
To him, it's, I don't know, it's just his work, like that's the way it's supposed to be. Or maybe he's been waiting his whole life for this to show off somehow. Well, it certainly doesn't say anything good about him like a person when he says that to his soldiers' faces. Obviously and understandably, our country has deceived us. I was born in 1996. Roughly speaking, I was born and raised under the same president, and of course I would not like to die under this president. For me personally, for my family, he hasn't done anything good. I have known for a long time that neither my government nor my country encourage people to develop. They sit at their trough and just make money for themselves, steal it to themselves, build golden toilets or something like this made out of their sick fantasy. And they are doing well, not like us. As most of our people say, as long as it has nothing to do with me, I don't care. I haven't watched TV for 15 years, and in fact, for me the concept of this being right and this wrong didn't exist as well. I always somehow tried to find more information to at least make sense of it. I am not a social psychologist, of course, but it seems to me that the whole problem is in the lack of proper education in our country, that it has been greatly lowered. And most likely this means that our people have no critical thinking. Firstly, they get information from only one source, and secondly, they are not able to do anything with this information. They don't rethink it, they don't dig into it, they don't think.
Только из одного источника, и, во-вторых, не способны с этой информацией ничего сделать. Они ее не переваривают, не осмысливают, не думают.
Хорошо, как ты считаешь, вот что обычный россиянин в России может сделать?
What do you think is the smallest thing every Russian can do to stop all of this?
Да хотя бы, каждый хотя бы просто должен банально перестать молчать.
At the very least, everyone should simply stop keeping silent. It's trivial, but you just need to stop being silent and fight for your rights. It doesn't take much to do, even at work. If you see that you are somehow not getting something, that your human rights are being understated, you just need to speak up, at least to speak up. I was also present at some rallies. What kind of a rally is it when you see how 10 uniformed police officers detain one person and all the rest just stand around and watch or get away? There is no unity, I do not know. At least just start not being silent. At least just say something. This is scary, but it is the point to start with. And if we do start talking, most likely a little at a time, in the end we may come to a really normal, civilized and free state.
Цивилизованному и свободному государству.
Как ты думаешь, почему вообще Россия?
Why do you think Russia invaded Ukraine in general?
Ну, мое мнение было, что, скорее всего, наше правительство хочет
In my opinion, the thing our government originally wanted was a small victorious war. I have been a little bit into all this stuff, dictatorship and so on, and every dictator usually needs a small victorious war to show that he is strong, powerful and so on. Now I don't even have any thoughts, and in general I thought that he needed just war, just to rule a little longer. Then a lot of other facts turned up. Even here, in any case, whatever caused the sending of troops, that wasn't a reasonable reason at all. First of all, our government needs to make at least something work in our country, and only then to pry somewhere else. I wouldn't make any sense even if they had met us with flowers and St. George ribbons due to what they are saying on TV.
Что толку? Если, ну вот, даже если бы там, допустим, нас
On
встретили,
TV they broadcast that people really wanted to join Russia. I have always wondered why. If people don't like living in the territory of Ukraine, why wouldn't they just go as the same refugees or just on their free will and come to Russia and live there? We have a lot of territories, so being able to build something there, I think it is not a problem for the state to allot apartments to refugees, but that was not done for this. I just can't take it.
Наше государство вполне могло бы, я думаю, выделить. Но тут цель была совсем другая. Я просто не понимаю.
Другая.
But what for then?
Ну, в смысле, что наши...
Well, I mean our troops weren't sent to liberate, but I can't understand what for. Maybe they wanted to show their strength in some way, or maybe they wanted to write off a bunch of equipment. There's a lot of machinery right now that's being written off, if we can say so.